She looked him in the eye and said, "I am Heathcliff. Not I love him, I am him." That is the kind of story this is. The Yorkshire moors are not gentle countryside. They are wild, windswept, and strangely beautiful. Miles of heather and rough grass under enormous skies. Storms roll in fast. The wind shapes everything it touches. And in the middle of this landscape stands a farmhouse called Wuthering Heights. Emily Brontë set her only novel here, and it shocked readers when it appeared in 1847. This was not the polite romance they expected. This was something fiercer, a story about two people whose connection was so intense it consumed everyone around them. Wuthering Heights asks a dangerous question. What happens when love does not make you better, when it makes you worse, when wanting someone becomes indistinguishable from destroying them? The novel begins with a mystery. A gentleman named Lockwood rents a property on the moors and visits his landlord at the neighbouring farmhouse. What he finds there unsettles him. A household crackling with hostility, presided over by a dark-eyed man who radiates barely contained fury. Lockwood is desperate to understand what he has stumbled into. The housekeeper, Nellie Dean, agrees to tell him the whole story. She was there from the beginning. She watched it all unfold. So the tale reaches us through her eyes, filtered through decades of memory, shaped by her own judgments and blind spots. We are never quite sure if we are getting the full truth, but the story she tells is extraordinary. It starts with an act of unexpected kindness. The master of Wuthering Heights, Mr. Earnshaw, travels to Liverpool and returns carrying a half-starved child he found in the streets. Dark-haired, dark-eyed, speaking a language nobody recognizes. The family is horrified, but Earnshaw insists the boy will stay. They name him Heathcliff, just that, no surname, no history. The son of the house, Hindley, hates him on sight. But Earnshaw's daughter, Catherine, she is fascinated. Catherine and Heathcliff become inseparable. They escape onto the moors together, running wild across the heather, coming home muddy and wind-tangled and perfectly happy. Something is forming between them, something that goes deeper than childhood friendship. They recognize each other. They are made of the same fierce material. When Mr. Earnshaw dies, everything changes. Hindley inherits, and his first act is revenge. Heathcliff, who grew up as a brother, is demoted to a servant. He must work the fields, sleep with the labourers, and remember his place. But he still has Catherine. Their bond survives even this humiliation. Perhaps it grows stronger. They still disappear together onto the moors whenever they can. Then one night they wander too close to Thrushcross Grange, the grand estate nearby. The wealthy Lintons catch them peering through the windows. Catherine is invited inside and treated like a guest. Heathcliff is chased off like a stray dog. Catherine stays at the Grange for weeks. When she returns, she has been transformed. Polished manners, fine clothes, new expectations. She has glimpsed another world, and she wants it. Edgar Linton is everything Heathcliff is not. Fair-haired, gentle, educated, respectable. He offers Catherine comfort, status, a life of elegance. And Catherine, wild, fierce Catherine, finds she wants those things too. She accepts Edgar's proposal, but the night before she tells anyone, she confides in Nellie Dean. And in the shadows of the kitchen, Heathcliff is listening. Catherine says that marrying Heathcliff would degrade her. His position is too low. But then she says something else. She says her love for Edgar is like the leaves on the trees. It will change with time. Her love for Heathcliff is like the rocks beneath the hills, eternal, necessary. She says, I am Heathcliff. But Heathcliff has already gone. He heard only the first part, that he would degrade her. He vanishes into the night, and for 3 years no one knows where. Catherine marries Edgar. She becomes the lady of Thrushcross Grange, comfortable, respectable, restless. Something in her is not satisfied. Something is waiting. Then Heathcliff returns, and he has transformed himself. The ragged servant has become a gentleman, educated, wealthy, dangerous. No one knows how. No one dares ask. Only his eyes are unchanged, dark, burning, fixed on Catherine. His return throws everything into chaos. Catherine is overwhelmed by his presence. Edgar is threatened by it. And Heathcliff begins to reveal his true purpose. He is not back for reconciliation. He is back for everything. Heathcliff's revenge is methodical and brilliant. He moves into Wuthering Heights and exploits Hindley's gambling addiction until he owns the property. He marries Edgar's sister Isabella, not for love, but because it wounds Edgar and gives him legal claims to Linton wealth. Isabella quickly discovers what she has married. Heathcliff does not pretend to care for her. She is an instrument, nothing more. When she eventually escapes, pregnant and terrified, he barely notices her going. By the time Hindley drinks himself into an early grave, Heathcliff has acquired everything: the house, the land, the right to raise Hindley's son Hareton as his own. The boy who was thrown out as a servant now owns it all. And Catherine is caught between two worlds she cannot reconcile. She cannot have Heathcliff without destroying everything she has built. She cannot live without him and remain whole. The tension breaks her. She falls desperately ill, whether from sickness or from the impossible pressure of her divided heart, no one can say. She rages, she despairs, she speaks of death as escape. Heathcliff comes to her one final time. Their last meeting is not gentle. It is accusation and grief and desperate love. Years of unspoken feeling compressed into a single fierce embrace. That night, Catherine gives birth to a daughter. The child lives. Catherine does not. And Heathcliff? He does not grieve like other men. He howls. He prays that her ghost will haunt him forever rather than leave him alone in the world. Be careful what you wish for. Years pass. A new generation grows up under the shadow of what came before. Catherine's daughter, young Cathy, is bright and spirited. She has her mother's fire, but her father's gentleness. Hareton, Hindley's son, has been deliberately kept ignorant by Heathcliff. Raised rough, denied education, shaped into a mirror of Heathcliff's own humiliation. And then there is Linton, Heathcliff's own sickly son by Isabella. When Isabella dies, Heathcliff brings the boy to the Heights, not out of love, as another piece in his long game. Heathcliff forces young Cathy to marry Linton, knowing the boy is dying. When Linton dies, Cathy's inheritance falls to Heathcliff. He now possesses both estates, both families' wealth, both children's futures. His revenge is complete. He has won everything. And it means nothing to him at all. Something strange begins to happen to Heathcliff. Having achieved everything, he starts to unravel. He stops eating. He wanders the moors at night. He returns with an expression that frightens the household, as if he has seen something wonderful and terrible. He speaks of Catherine, not as memory, but as presence. He feels her everywhere. The boundary between living and dead has worn thin for him. His cruelty toward the young people fades. Looking at Hareton, he sees his own features mixed with the Earnshaws. Looking at young Cathy, he sees her mother's eyes. The revenge that consumed him for decades no longer seems to matter. Something else is calling him now. They find Heathcliff dead in Catherine's old room, the window open to the moors. Rain has soaked him where he lay. His expression, witnesses say, was almost peaceful, almost a smile. The locals begin to speak of seeing two figures walking the moors together, a dark man and a woman, side by side at last. Ghost story or wishful thinking? The novel leaves it beautifully ambiguous. But something lovely happens among the living. Hareton and young Cathy, left alone at last, begin to find each other. She teaches him to read. He teaches her to see past her pride. Something gentler grows from the wreckage of the generation before. Wuthering Heights refuses to be comfortable. It will not let us simply admire Catherine and Heathcliff or simply condemn them. They are magnificent and terrible. They destroy themselves and everyone around them. And somehow, across nearly 2 centuries, we cannot look away. Perhaps Emily Brontë captured something we all recognize but rarely name: the dangerous pull of a love that consumes rather than nourishes, the wildness in us that civilization cannot quite tame, the part of us that would rather burn than settle. The moors endure. The wind still batters the heights. And somewhere out there, 2 figures walk together at last, finally free from the world that could never contain what they felt. Wuthering Heights. Thank you for listening.